everyone, Lori from Stamp with Lori here. Today I'm going to show you how to do this gradient stripe right here, which is the background of this stamp set. So I'm going to show you how we accomplish that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 inch Whisper white cardstock. And then I have 2 pieces here that are just, it's a thicker cardboard actually, and I use these here to mask the rest of my white sheet so that I don't get it on. I'm going to use painter's tape to secure it so that it doesn't move. So I'm going to figure, I want the stripe to be about this far in, so I'm just going to place it. I'm going to use my grid paper here first of all to make sure that my cardstock here is straight, and then I'm going to use just a piece of this painter's tape to keep it in place so it doesn't move. So I'm using my grid paper to make sure that I'm straight, and then I want probably about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch from the inside. So I'm going to again use painter's tape to keep that in place, and I'm going to do the top and bottom of this one just to make sure. And then how wide do I want my gradient strips? So I think we're going to try about there. And then I will use my painter's tape again. Okay, the 3 colors that I'm going to use today are Granny Apple Green, Pool Party, and Gorgeous Grape. I'm going to start with the green first, and this is what I do. I'll take a sponge and I'll divide it up into 6 wedges, and then I always mark, like I'll just take any label that I have, any label punch, and then I'll punch it out, fold it in half, and then staple it to the sponge, and I'll put down the color of what it is. Then I can reuse these wedges over and over again for the same color. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my sponge. It's the first time it's been inked up, so it might take a little bit. And then I'm just going to gradually start wiping it straight up. And you can see how it's a little bit darker at the bottom, and as we go higher, we're losing the color, so it gets a little bit lighter. I want it just a tiny bit darker, so I'll add more ink to the sponge, and I'm just pressing fairly lightly. Okay, and I think I'll just leave it right about there for now. Put that aside. And then next I'll go with the Pool Party. So again, I haven't used this sponge yet, so I'm going to just dab it a few times to get the ink. And then I'm going to start down here over top of the Granny Apple Green where I was before. And again, I'm just going to work gradually up. And you can already see, so we have a little bit of color change happening here with where the blue and the green meet. I'm going to pick up a little bit more ink and do it again. Do some more. That's looking okay. And now I'm going to use my Gorgeous Grape, and the same thing. I'm going to ink up my sponge and start over top of the blue. That went on very dark, so I'm just going to keep rubbing it. I'll just back and forth. It's going to lighten it up a little bit. Now you'll see I got a little bit of splotch there, but that's okay. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the green, and I'm just going to go all the way up again. Just so, and it's just kind of blending the colors in. Let's see how it's going over, and it's softening the look of that. So I'm going over with the green. These are light colors, so going over them is not going to hurt it. And then I'm going to do the same with the Pool Party. I just want to soften that grape up a little bit. And I want just a little bit more green down here, so I'm just going to, there. So it doesn't look like much right there. So we're going to take off our mask. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some stamping on it. I'm going to use the Grace's Garden, and I'm going to stamp the flowers. I think I will stamp them in Gorgeous Grape. So I'm going to use this piece, and this piece. Okay, so I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to go off the paper a little bit. I went off the bottom and off the side just a little bit so it doesn't look perfectly perfect. I'm going to add another one of these because I want it to be a different height. I don't want everything to look the exact same. I'm going to come off of my paper more, like so. And then I'm going to add some of the other flowers, the small flowers. I'm going to use the Gorgeous Grape again, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp into my ink, and I'm going to stamp off, and then stamp on. And I might just go over top again without re-inking it and add a little bit more, so you're just left with like a shadow there. So I will yeah, I'll just stamp on and then off. I think for my greeting, I think I'm going to use the green for my greeting, the Granny Apple green. Hope that looks all right. And I'm going to put on the outside with All My Heart. Stamp it right about there. And then the inside of the card, I have a piece of paper here. Then I will stamp in the same green the rest of the greeting. So with All My Heart, I thank you for all the kindness in yours. Okay, so put that aside. Now I think what I'll do here is I'm going to color these flowers here just to give it a little bit more color. But first I'll attach it to my card because it'll help pick up the, I'm using Gorgeous Grape cardstock for the background. So just so I can get an idea of the color scheme. So I'll center that over top. I will put this on the inside. There we go. Now I'll just grab some markers. I'm going to use the Stampin' Blends, I think. So I'll use the Granny Apple Green, and I don't think Gorgeous Grape is available in the Stampin' Blends, but the Highland Heather is. So I'll use those. And then I'm going to just do a little bit of coloring with those, I think. So you're just going to add a little bit of color. Okay, so all I did was I just used my blends to color. I didn't actually use them for blending in too much like I could. I've missed a couple flowers, so I'll just add them. I used some of the flowers I colored dark, some of them I colored light, so that I could have two tones. So it ties in the Gorgeous Grape from the cardstock as well. And then I added some green in the leaves. And that's all there is to it. So that teaches you how to do the gradient blend. You can use, I use 3 colors depending on the area that you're doing. You can use, I would probably use at least 3 colors. Okay, any questions, please feel free to send me an email, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.